All right, who is ready for the energetic yes method? Who is sick of awkward client consultations, discovery calls that eat up your time that don't really go anywhere? And when it comes down to naming your price, sharing your offer, you're afraid you're going to be another kind of person that is there to like pitch and convince and do this whole spiel just to get people to work with you. Now, today I'm sharing this secret that I've learned from investing thousands of dollars into mastering conscious sales and also learning from people that are the best of the best, people like John Assaraf, people like Russell Brunson, and putting a spiritual and conscious twist on it. My name is Melissa. I am a intuitive business coach and spiritual channel for people who want to get paid abundantly to live their purpose. So if you're tired of chasing clients and having people hop on calls with you just to kind of go into this big demo and for them to say, okay, well, that's nice, but I'll think about it. This is going to change everything forever. Now, we're going to take you through a very intuitive and simple way to actually use practices like NLP, right? So neuro-linguistic programming that gets people to drop their guard, to disarm their barriers, and to add a ton of value so that no matter what, whether they say like, F yes, I'm here to work with you, or if they choose to go in a different direction, they see you as the best of the best. And it feels good, not only for yourself, but also for your ideal clients, your potential leads. And it's just a win-win. So I'm just going to get this slide deck up and running. Hopefully you guys can see that. Here we go. Boom. Now, out is the old way of selling. We are not here to do sales pitches. We are not here to bombard people with convincing and persuading and chasing and forcing. We are here to magnetize. We are here to allow. We are here to invite. And most of all, we're here to do it in a nervous system way that feels great, that feels abundant, and that allows people to be self-led and to jump into your offers from a place of sovereignty, not pressure, not hustle, not outdated tactics. So if you are a service provider in any way, this is the amazing consultation solution. If you are a coach, a healer, a practitioner, a service provider, you are a spiritual business owner, and you want to invite people to dive deep into higher paying offers, right? High ticket offers or more premium offers that aren't a match for the same traditional methods that you would use for, say, low ticket offers, right? One-off healing sessions. You actually want to make more, receive more by doing less. I'm excited for this. And a special announcement, my boyfriend and I, who co-own a marketing agency, we've partnered up for a very, very, very special reveal. He's probably going to kill me, but I had this nudge to drop it today and to just give you a teaser for a solution that we're offering that it's available only for people in my circle. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I don't want to talk too much, so let's dive right in. So now, the energetic yes method is all about invitation, permission, and asking intelligent questions that spark emotion, that connect the dots, and that allow people to be self-led by saying yes to your offers from a place of soul, from a place of sovereignty, and from a place of feeling like they finally have a safe space and a leader, right, to support them in crossing the threshold of their resistance into taking the leap into a transformation. So we are not here to pitch. We are not here to persuade, right? We're not here to hustle and chase and force people into our corners. We're here to be regulated. And the best part about this is it's a win-win-win because you're going to feel safe, you're going to feel confident, and they're going to feel so freaking thankful that you're the breath of fresh air that actually for once feels emotionally, energetically safe for them to be supported without any force. Why traditional calls feel awkward AF? It's because they are transactional, because people have a hidden agenda. And the funny thing is about this is when you hop onto a call with a fixed agenda, whether or not you want to admit it, people can feel it. When you hop on a call and you are like, I'm going to close them, I'm going to sell them, and they're going to pay me, people can feel it. Even if you don't say it, people can feel it, right? So these old transactional sales calls where your one and only goal is to sell, 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 right? Make the quota. It leaves people feeling scared. It feels like it's very, it feels like they're being hunted, right? And one of the other things that I've noticed, and I made a huge mistake on, especially in my early days of higher ticket sales or higher ticket offers, is talking way too much about me and how I could solve them. It's not because I was, narcissistic. It's literally because I was trying to demonstrate how much value I could add. So I made the entire call about my list of features, what's in my program, instead of actually asking questions to my client about what they're going through. And this probably lost me thousands of dollars in sales. And I didn't realize that I was doing it until I found this method, which actually doesn't talk about you for most of the call. It just talks about their stuff, and it gets them to make their own sort of epiphany to decide to take the leap with you if you're the right fit. So feminine selling, and this isn't necessarily also about feminine. So there's going to be men joining on this call. When I talk about feminine selling, this program specifically is for women. However, this NLP, this energetic yes method, is also for men in the sense that you are supporting men and women, right, in making their own epiphany, and also inviting them rather than chasing them down. It's a magnetic, right, way of bringing people to you instead of you going after them. Okay. So this is what the secret sauce is. This is something that I learned from John Assaraf, and I've put my own spin on it. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to actually want to ignore everything on the left-hand side, because the best way to get people on board and excited to work with you is to walk them up a hill of everything that's going on internally and externally in their life. Meaning, we don't say a single thing about ourselves, our programs, our offers, our features, our bonuses, our until people actually feel seen, heard, held, and understood in their deepest energetic, emotional pain points. Meaning, we want to start with all of the questions that walk them up the hill to get an understanding of their inner landscape, their outer landscape, who's going to benefit from them changing their circumstances, and what it would look like for them if they actually had what they needed to succeed. We always want to start with understanding the number one reason for the call. This way we can lead them in the right direction. And we're going to jump right back to this, but I actually love to use a specific question for this because this disarms them. When people hop on a discovery call, a clarity call, a consultation, whatever you want to call it, we all know what's going to happen. It is likely going to lead to an invitation to work with you. People aren't dumb, but this allows them to see that you're leading from the heart, and that either way, they're going to get a ton of value. So it goes something like this. So, hi, so excited to jump on. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that my goal is to understand you. I want to get some clarity. And I'm also going to see if there are specific recommendations I can make to help you with your thing. And so that either way, whether you choose to, go in with me or somebody else, I will point you in the right direction so that you're going to walk away feeling like you got a ton of value. And so they can feel like it's safe to arrive. And then what I love to ask is yes-based questions. So yes uses neuro-linguistic programming, consumer psychology, and it gets them to start saying yes to you and see them in the solution. It builds rapport, it builds trust, and you first get a micro win by saying, does that feel safe for you? Do I have permission, right? Permission is amazing because it allows them to actually feel like they're in control, even if you're holding the frame and even if you are the one doing the leading. Now, then what we want to understand after we've gotten their intention, right? So the intention for the call is probably what they want solved or what they would love to walk away with. And this is the number one thing that we're going to weave in. Then we're going to ask them some questions about their pain points, right? People are more likely to purchase and invest to escape a pain than they are to get a positive outcome. So meaning people are more likely to pay for your programs, invest in your offers if it allows them to escape a hardship, a pain point, more so than it does to step into a benefit or a win or a positive. It's really interesting, but people are more driven to escape and avoid pain than they are to lean towards, happy bonuses. By understanding the pain points, you know what is struggling with them and also what is motivating them to invest in working with someone, whether it's yourself or someone else. The next thing that I love to do is to talk about their desired outcome and their goals. And one of the questions that makes this really fun is, if we could wave a magic wand, what would that look like? What would you be like? How would that be? So they're starting to subconsciously see themselves in a transformation and associate that transformation with you. You're priming their subconscious to get an impression of their future self, their healed, their whole, their happy self, their successful self, whatever you're selling, right, or offering. They are now imagining, oh my God, how does that feel, right? How would that be changed? So you get to say this, and then you also get to see what is the most important thing what direction do they need to go in, right? And through that, your recommendations is going to be a specific service, offer, product, solution to help them go from their like pain island, right, to pleasure island. And then what you want to do is ask some clarifying questions around their willingness to invest in themselves, what has worked and what hasn't. And the reason we want to ask, what have you tried before, is because you'll see that they already might have some objections when you go to reveal your offer based on past failures, right? So we actually want to, before we make an invitation to work with you, understand the reasons it's flopped, it didn't work, they have a lack of confidence, or they feel like this is a them problem. They're just this kind of person that's stuck with this. Right? By doing this, you get to prime them and to also already create solutions ahead of time so that you don't have to be in this awkward final stage of like dismantling objections and objection handling, because we're in the new era where that doesn't exist. We are using strategic, intuitive ways to effortlessly weave that into our recommendations prior to, and to understand where they also might need a confidence boost, because it's likely that whether you're helping somebody quit smoking, they have likely tried that a few times and failed, right? So by this time, they're already beaten down and they want someone to make suggestions that help them with the quote unquote unsolvable. Another one of the things that I love to do is asking if they have, invested in certain things, right? Have they invested in certain programs, coaching? Is this a new arena for this? And ideally, if you are somebody with a higher ticket offer, you might also want to include this on like a pre-screening, like an application to work with you for your higher level offers, your more premium offers, because you'll want to filter out people that have never invested in themselves. And the reason is because people who have never invested in themselves are unlikely to make that leap right off the bat on a premium offer. They may actually need to go through some lower ticket offers, right? DIY offers, masterclasses, freebies, to start building trust and rapport, and to also start investing in themselves on a micro level to see that it actually leads to something. And I've seen this firsthand with people who are like, no, we can just chat GPT it and blah, 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 right? We can just figure it out our way, or I can just, I'm sure we can just Google it along the way. These are not the kinds of people that you'll want to invite on a call. It's not that these people are valuable. You want to help as many people as possible. But the times that you are actually on a face-to-face one-on-one call should be reserved for people who are somewhat vetted, right? So that you know that your time is actually used in a way that pays your bills, right? And that you're not hopping on. And the reason is when I was going through changing my programs and stuff, I remember this one time where I was just on the cusp of letting go of my one-on-one sessions. And I gave this talk and I was so excited because like 10, 15 people after this talk booked a sales call with me, like a consultation. And I was so stoked, but I realized it was the wrong audience. The talk I had gave was for people who were like very many steps behind me in terms of the healing work that I've done over the years. They were like baby beginners, like highly, still stuck in trauma loops, still in middles of high conflict divorces, and they just didn't have the financial means. So I didn't feel like I was in integrity because I didn't want to show up and sell them on some major package because they were just escaping basic survival needs, right? So those are the times we also need to use our discernment of, are we actually going to drop an offer, or are we going to lead with the heart and say, you know what, I think that somebody else might be a better solution for you. I'm not even going to sell you on this because I don't think that that's what you need where you're at, right? Now, what we're going to do is then also get them to explain why investing in themselves, why a program, why mentorship, why your solution might help them. And what's great about this is this uses those NLP and subconscious story selling ways for them to actually reach their own conclusion. So, for example, if I was to tell you, the reason you're going to want to invest in working with me, right, is because I can do this for you and I can do that for you and I can do this for you. You're going to be like, okay, right? But if I were to ask you, okay, what would change if you didn't have all that fear, all the resistance? What happened if you didn't stop slowing yourself down? What happens if you knew exactly how to put your offers out there and get people saying yes, so you can start actually, quitting your 9-to-5 job in the next 60 days or less? Then they're answering the questions, then they're selling themselves, and then they're also reaching sort of a self-led, self-directed conclusion of, oh, this might be really good for me. Do you see how the difference is? It's totally different than me pitching or convincing. This allows them to actually answer their own question. And by answering their own question, they're going to believe it more than anybody on a sales call, because anyone on a sales call, they may also have sales trauma, right? So when they are answering the questions, they trust themselves. They may or may not trust you yet. And this is why we put the steering wheel back in their hands. Hey, Connie, glad to see you moved over. Thank you so much. All right. So what's behind your why? Why do you want it? Who benefits? Now, the reason this question is so freaking magical is because once we get down the hill to naming our offer and to inviting them on, there may also be there's usually like 4 or 5 most common sales objections. And one is the infamous, I got to ask my spouse, right? And that's valid, right? We want to make financial decisions, especially bigger investments, with our family on board, right? We don't want to just go and drop like 10K on a package without naming it, because they want people to be included. Hi, Gio. Thank you so much for moving over. You guys are the best. I really appreciate your flexibility. Connie and Gio are epic. We were on a Zoom call and we had some tech hiccups because Mercury retrograde. But I realized the best way. Anyway, long story. Glad you guys are here. I appreciate you. So what's behind your why? Why do you want it and who benefits? The reason this is so magical is because in those interactions where they say, okay, I got to ask my spouse, I got to talk to my partner, it's not actually about asking for permission to leap, right? It's actually because they've likely, again, tried 3, 4, 5 times in the past, failed, and they don't want to let their family down once more. And that's sad. I've been there too. I've been there in moments where I was working through something on the cusp of a new quantum leap or a new threshold in my career and success. And I kept hitting the same wall and it felt freaking defeating. And I also wanted so bad what I had on the other side, which was the expanded income, the lifestyle freedom, the travel freedom, the time freedom to support my family and to like be really generous with my family. And when I wasn't there yet, I was afraid that if I were to like drop some cash, right, or commit to something, and then I had to go and also say like I fucked up again or I didn't get the thing, that would just devastate me, because most people are not just in it for themselves. Sure, we want the amazing outcomes. We want the confidence, the clarity, the love, the wealth, right? The career success, the satisfaction. But who at the end of the day do they want that for? What do they want it for? Happy family life, happy memories. They want their kids to finally see the stressed out mom that they are thriving, right? They want their kids and their wife to see the provider that they are. And just feel so smitten because they come and they can finally provide for their family in a different way. It's not just about themselves. They're doing it for the folks around themselves. And so this allows them to see this as a safe bridge, because guess what? It's not just about closing the call or sealing the deal or, buying a package. They're seeing this as investment in those very people that they want to make proud. And this is also amazing because you get to, again, further ask questions on why they are choosing to do things differently in this call. Now, once we have asked all the questions about their pain points, their desires, their dreams, their hopes, their wishes, we want to make sure that we understood them. And if you have ever had a big dream, and I know myself in this too, there has been times where I've had a big dream and I saw it and I was manifesting and I was praying for it and wishing and doing all the visualizations. And it was in the early stages where you're not quite at that phase of 100% self-belief. You're still a little bit doubty. Is it realistic? Am I asking for too much? Is that really possible for me? The worst possible feeling is when you tell it to a trusted friend, a family member, a spouse, and they shoot it down. That's not realistic. Are you sure you can do that? That's a short amount of time. That's really ambitious, right? Have you thought that through? What about XYZ? How freaking soul crushing it is to disclose your most vulnerable, intimate dream to someone and them just pop a bubble in it, right? Now, the mirror part, and the reason why this is so great for these clients, and this entire sales process, right, or consultation process, clarity call, discovery call process is so amazing, is because you get to give them the gift of feeling heard, seen, understood, and also like anchoring in that, yes, that is possible for them. So how freaking amazing is it for them to finally feel like there's one person out of all the people that have doubted them, one person that's going to like put their fork in the sand and say, yes, I see that. It's possible. You can do it. You got this. One person that's going to be like their ally, right? To be loud and proud and to also confirm if you truly feel that you can help them with this. Don't say it if you don't do it, but if you are the person to make that a reality, how amazing would it feel to meet that person and for them to say, yeah, I do that all the time. It's a no-brainer. For sure, we can do that for you. And so after we mirror their understanding, so I'm hearing that you want this amazing thing, right? You want a fast way to start getting paid consistently with your gifts, your genius, with coaching clients, so that you can leave that 9 to 5, so that you can have that time freedom, and so that you can actually receive more by doing less. But I understand that your confidence and your past business failures and maybe your lack of time is in the way that's been making it really hard, right? Okay, got it. Yes, understood. Now, here comes the magic. Once they have confirmed that you got it and you are on the same page, you get their dream, you get their pains, you get what you want to go. Then we start with permission-based closing. Permission-based closing is, and I say this again, and I probably shouldn't be saying this on a Facebook live stream, but it's the same way in the dating world, right? When you're a single person and you're having new partners, right? And you meet somebody who you'd love to smooch and make out with, right? Or whatever. And they want to ask your permission first. Of course, you're probably going to do it. If there's a chemistry, of course, you're probably going to head in that direction. For sure, you want it. But the fact that they took the second to ask, to make sure you feel supported, to make sure you feel safe, to make sure you want it, game changer, right? So permission-based close. For every single question, we ask permission. Why? Because that, again, gives them the power to direct the call. Yes, you are the leader here. You're holding the frame. We're not giving them the possibility to hijack the call, but we're giving them the power to be self-led, self-paced, and for them to kind of call the shots, which makes them feel safe with you. Finally, there's this one person that not only gets it, but I can just feel safe, accepted around, and that I know is not going to just take advantage of me. So I understand exactly what you're going through. And now is a great time to also share how you've done the same for yourself and the clients. This is something that's so easy and people really overthink, but I'd love to make some recommendations. Are you okay if I make a couple suggestions for you? I think I can help you. Would you like to hear about it? Yes, I would, right? So once we disclose some of those opportunities, so this is a great way to start sharing about your programs now that you have permission. So I'm getting one of two things. I have this one thing that helps people with this specific pain point. And what I've seen is this. You're going to go from this fear, this stuck point, this pain point into feeling confident, aligned, healthy, radiant, people running down the street to work with you. Would you like to know more about that? And again, we're asking permission. Is it okay if I share a bit more about that? And then we also start asking questions before we drop any pricing so there's two different investment options. Is this something that you'd like to know more? Would you like me to share the price? Would you like me to share a bit more about the investment to see if it is a fit for your budget and your needs? Yeah. Okay. After that, we're going to go back to the sales objection alchemy. This is the replay from day 1 that you guys can get. We're not going to go too much into the framework today because it's an entire masterclass, but it's part of this entire training. So just head over to my profile if you want to catch up on it. But what we're going to do is we're basically, in a short nutshell, hold space for their fears, their objections. What I've learned through this process is that sales objections don't mean a no. It doesn't mean that you're bulldozing it. It doesn't mean that they want you to drop the call. In those most vulnerable moments when they're afraid to once again take the leap, to make an investment or to make a commitment and time commitment to change their life around, they're terrified that they're going to fail. They're terrified that it's not going to work out. And in those moments, they actually want and crave you to be a leader for them and to lead them through dismantling the distortions, meaning the trauma or the past business failures or the past health concerns or the reasons why it could never work out for them, and to hold space for it. And one of the best things that I learned actually from a good friend of mine, Miro, when he held space for my objections on a sales call, was when he named a investment and he saw me make a sort of micro expression or flinch right on the price tag, which, it's okay. He didn't say, oh, come on, like, let's do this anyway. He said, Melissa, I noticed that created a reaction for you. I noticed that that brought up. So tell me what that brings up. What does that bring up for you? And he sat with it. And I just had this moment of, oh my gosh. Okay, great. What does that bring up for me? And this is a moment where taking 5 seconds to help people through their deepest fears, right, allows them to shatter that resistance, that barrier, because it's not about the price. It's not about the investment. It's not about the confusion or the objections. It's about seeing them on the sacred threshold of a new quantum leap. And if you've ever been on a quantum leap, right, you've been jumping into a timeline or you've been making career advancements or quantum leaping in your health and relationships, you know that when you're on that cusp of a quantum leap, things feel awful scary. And your brain is like, no, go back to the safe land. This is uncharted territory. And some of the best moments in my life is when I've gotten invited to travel abroad, right? Travel internationally to speak at a manifestation retreat. And this was my dream. And what was my subconscious saying in that moment? You better get the fuck home, right? Because what if you fly all the way out to California and nobody shows up? What if you fly 8 hours to California and they bail, right? Or the thing gets canceled and then you're stuck in the desert. All of these fears came up, but it was because I was about to enter a new territory of aligned freedom, empowerment, right? Abundance, and also the bliss and fulfillment of being in my destiny. So when you're able to hold space for that and to take a listen without changing, without persuading, without dismantling, right? We're not here to bulldoze that. We're asking questions. And when you see that they may be holding a false belief, right, a limiting belief, the same way maybe a family member who's not really like conscious, right, or awake, they're very like old paradigm, they may have some beliefs where you're like, oh, well, that's a very limited way of thinking. That's not, that's conditioning. Instead of just sharing it, hey, well, that's false, don't listen to that. We actually say, I'm noticing something, and it actually might be something that could be just a limiting belief. And I was wondering if it would be okay with you if I call you out on that. Do I have permission to call you out on this fear, on this limiting belief? Because I think there's actually something that you're not seeing here. And then they say, oh, okay, maybe I am, right, just a little bit closed-minded, or maybe this is actually just a distortion. Yeah, for sure, call me out. And then you can also ask, and I remember Miro asking me, he's like, on a level of 1 to 10, how much do you want me to roast you right now? And, some people might want to give it to me gentle. Some people be like, give it to me real, call me out, right? So you can just work with your clients to see how much compassion and nurturing do they want versus how much like sort of punchy, like what's that called? Banter do they want, right? Sometimes it can be more fun to have like cheeky banter. Sometimes if it is a very emotional call, you'll want to drop the poking a hole in it, and you'll actually want to hold space from a place of like nurturing, compassion, right? Or even as a safe masculine, right? Holding safe spaces as a man. But you guys are intuitive leaders. You guys are heart-led leaders. So you'll know what your person needs. Once they've gotten through that and they feel safe to proceed, and do not rush them through this. You want to actually allow them How much do you want me to be real now? Thank you. Yes, Gio, that's exactly right. I love that. So some people might prefer to be called out. And there's been times I've been like, you know what, everything's going wrong. Just give it to me straight. Rip the Band-Aid off. I just want to fix this darn thing. Other times where I've had like, mistake after mistake after mistake when I'm leveling up my business and I'm in tears and they see what my problem is, I'd prefer for them to like give it to me with a hug, right? There is a nuance to those questions, and it really depends on the service, it depends on the people, and it depends on what they've gone through, right? So if they're at their wit's end, I'd say gentle is the key. If they are just ready to lean in, get the download, move fast, and do the Band-Aid thing, it's going to sting, but let's do it, go for that. Now, once they've had that, again, we ask permission. Okay, does that clear things up for you, right? Does that ring true? And then also ask them, bump that up against your own intuition, because I don't want to just project my truth onto you for what I see. Does that actually feel true for you? And are you ready to move forward? Is this something that you'd still like to continue, exploring? If no, that's okay. We hold space and then we gently, make some recommendations, or we give them a time to process and come back. It's not about closing the deal. It's about establishing lifelong relationships with people. Then what we're going to talk about is asking if their future self would be proud of them for making this move. This allows them to connect the dots on your solution, your service, right, your offer, with an outcome that they would love. Do you have a script, the layout of the sales process, and the questions that I will be sharing? Yes. So I don't really believe in scripts. But I do have a free resource that I will be sharing. So anyone on this call that wants like a written recap of this, you can DM me the word sales alchemy and I will send you like a PDF. So you can just have that when you're on sales calls. For people who actually want this entire process and some support, there will be an invitation at the end of the call to join an accelerator program. It's like the 6 best weeks of your life, where I'm going to be supporting you in a group container and potentially one-on-one as well, to go through this, to rehearse this, to tailor this, and to get clarity on what is your offer. So if you're in a space of, okay, I'm ready to charge more, I'm ready to actually bring people through a transformation rather than just band-aiding it with one-off healing or coaching sessions, and I'm ready to earn more so that I can have that time freedom with my family and to hit my financial goals, there will be an opportunity which I will share later. So yes, both to yes. So comment, I'll just write it down, comment or DM me Sales Alchemy for a free resource and PDF to help you with this. Okay, cool. Hopefully that sends. I think it'll send. All right, cool. So yes, so now we're anchoring it into their future self, right? Is this an outcome that is trustworthy? Now, I'm specifically an intuitive coach, and I work with people that are pretty dialed into their intuition, their spirituality, their muscle testing. And what I actually love to do is kind of prove that I'm not just here to take their money, but I'm here to add value. So in these moments, what I actually do with clients is I tell them my own formula that I use when I'm making potential purchases or considering a different investment. So when I'm going to invest money in a coach, a program, a training, a piece of clothing, something for my home, I ask 3 questions. I say, 1, is this going to create more for me? Meaning more success, more joy, more sales, more income, right? Like more, is it going to expand my life? So 2, if I invest this money with this person, am I going to get a positive ROI? How long would it take me to get, my ROI back? And I'm not going to invest in things unless there is a direct ROI. The third thing that I ask is this going to lead to a future that I am happy with? Meaning, am I going to have that post-purchase regret? You know those things where you buy the thing and then you're like, oh my God, why did I invest in that? That was so impulsive. So then I love to prime, if I make this investment, if I make this purchase, is this leading to a future that I'm happy with? Meaning, I'm either satisfied with the purchase, very, very, very happy, or this is leading to a future that this was the right strategy, this was the right coach, this was the right program to get me to my next level. And once I'm in my next level, it's actually an outcome or a future that I feel happy, satisfied, freaking grateful with. Okay. What's it worth it to have this figured out? Now, I like to ask this a bit differently. This is a little bit about price anchoring, right? And price anchoring is all about giving their mind an understanding that it's not just this big, scary investment, but here's also what it's going to do. we can do price anchoring in one of two ways. Price anchoring can be first disclosing if the highest ticket offer you have, if you do have that, and then comparing this offer as a lower or affordable or accessible, like no-brainer option compared to that. Because what that does is it allows people to see the difference or the gap. What you can also do is say, so if you had this problem solved, let's talk about people who want more clients, right? They just started a business, they set up shop, they're so gifted, they invested in the certifications, they're ready to serve, they want to help people, but it's crickets. And they didn't realize that they had to become marketers. They didn't realize that they could have this healing practice or a coaching practice, and then they'd actually have to figure out how to bring people in. And I was like that too. I remember when I got my first healing and coaching certification, I just assumed as soon as I got the certificate, people would show up. That was a hard one to realize. I was like, what do you mean? I thought the certificate was it. I thought that meant like I was just ready for business and people would just find me. It doesn't work like that. And so here's a great way to help them kind of calculate the value, right? So in the event that you're helping people, for example, like I do, get booked, right? Get more clients, get found online, and also get paid a premium to do the thing that you love so much. You would ask some questions to help them understand, well, what does that do for my life? So if you had consistent clients, right? And then you can ask, so how many clients do you want to work with? Okay. So you want 10 clients a week. Okay. And what are you currently charging? Perfect. So what are your goals this year? Oh, I'm actually saving up to buy my dream home. Perfect. So if you had 10 clients and you raised your prices a bit and you actually went from individual healing sessions to a way better offer that helps them get further, and you were able to raise your prices to say $5,000 to $10,000 per client. Okay. How does that add up to? Okay, that adds up to $100,000. So, if I were to share something that could help you get there, that is around the $1,000 mark. It's not one of my $8,000 client coaching packages. It's around the $1,000 mark. Would that make sense for you? Okay. If it does, then yes. If no, then you say, okay, no problem. So what would make sense for you? And then you make recommendations. And this is also a good time. And I learned this from someone named Brad Hart. He was saying for the people that are just not a good fit, this is a great time to have affiliate partnerships or make a recommendation with a strategic business ally where their program may be a better fit for them. And then you could maybe get commissions or, a little lump sum payment as a thank you for referring them business that wouldn't have signed on with you either. So once you know the cost of having it figured out, then you ask them about what would shift if you started today. What if it didn't have to be this thing? And we know that when you're lying in bed and you have this problem and you have this goal, what keeps you up at night and you're feeling disappointed, like, when is it going to click for me? When am I finally going to do the thing? I remember for me, that was speaking. I had so many quantum hypnosis sessions. I got so many downloads about my life purpose. I had been asking for my life purpose for years. What is my purpose? Right? I felt so lost after leaving the corporate world, and I did the coaching and I did the healing, but my life purpose is actually not quite yet, Gio, but thank you. We're going to hop over to the next slide in a sec. I think it's just the last two questions here about shifting. I remember getting the downloads of being a speaker, and for a year or two, I just sabotaged the F out of it. I resisted it. I was so scared of being a speaker. I was afraid. So I remember just laying in bed and being like, when is it that I'm going to have this come to God moment? This was also the same when I was leaving an unhealthy relationship many years ago. And I remember knowing it was time to leave. I was afraid to leave. I knew I had to leave for my own sanity and safety, and wondering when I'm just going to get up and do the thing, and it's almost like that becomes your pain, the non-action of being so fed up with your stuck point, but being terrified that you're not going to have the guts to make the leap. So this is a great way to give them an opportunity to say, you know what, instead of overthinking this for the next 6 months and spiraling out and staying up late at night and crying yourself to sleep and going through that where you're just questioning, like, when is it going to click? When am I finally going to do the thing that I know I need to do? What if we could just do it today? And you could just feel good and just be there. And it could be safe and I can hold your hand every step of the way. What would shift? And then they can allow, oh my God, that would be such a relief. Oh my God, that would be such a, like, I would cry, right? I'm just going to go, I can't see the last question. All right, invitation to join offer. Beautiful. Okay. Now, once you have that, you get the green light. And the green light is, again, permission to make an offer. So based on everything, if you really feel this way, if you don't feel this way, we don't say this. Well, you're your own leader. I don't say this. I hope you wouldn't say this. This is not the framework to make offers that are unaligned. If you know you can help them, if you see you have an offer that can rock their world, change their life, now is the time to, again, ask permission to invite them. I see that you're looking for this. I know that this has changed my life, and I would love to make you an invitation. I think that you would do exceptional in this program, and I think you would get really, really good results. I'd love to help you with this. Do I have permission to invite you? Would you like an invitation? I would love to invite you to this thing. Would you like it? And then you share. And now finally we're doing the thing. We're doing the price reveal. We're doing the program. We're doing not just the features. You're not saying you get access to my library of recordings. Nobody cares about that. You say during this process, you are going to start channeling your high ticket offer, using your source, using your spirit guides, using your soul and what you came here to do. You are going to get so crystal clear on your marketing so that every time you post something, people come running to invest in you. You're going to shift your identity from someone who's trying to get their business off the ground into somebody who's already highly sought after, highly successful, and wired for entrepreneurship. You are going to unplug from trading your time from time for money and unplug from that employee mindset of undercharging or going by the hour and step into quantum nonlinear wealth, doing what you love with soul, with integrity. This is where you're going to be sharing how their life has changed. And also, this is the moment, and you see this in commercials a lot of the times too, right? So take a commercial targeting people who are empty nesters and they're newly retired, right? And they're having like a midlife crisis and wanting to get their groove back. This is the happy, like riding the red convertible in the sunrise, right? So what does your ideal client want, and how do they imagine themselves and how their status has changed, or how people view them differently, meaning, oh my God, you're freaking glowing. What are you doing? Right? So what is their happy sunrise red convertible moment, and tie that back to your invitation. So we talked about the permission. So when you're asking aligned questions, clients will sell themselves on working with you because they have answered questions that gets them to realize their own conclusions. Hashtag no sales pitch needed. And when you shift your frequency to invitation, to magnetizing, to just leading a movement instead of trying to chase and persuade and convince, sales shift with you. Now, I will be sharing a resource for everyone on this call. By the way, what did you guys think? For those that are on the call, is this helpful? Let me know if you guys have any questions before we dive into a little opportunity or a little invitation that I'm making actually to get help with every step you need along the way, to market your services, to write amazing stuff on your social media, and to sell with so much soul so that it doesn't feel salesy, but high-paying clients are super eager to work with you. I'll give a second for any questions. All right, looks like we are clear. So you may or may not know my story. I've been in the healing and coaching world since about the pandemic, about 5 years professionally. And my first business, Nirvana Collective, was not profitable. It did not take off. It got dissolved. And there was also a lot of moments where I kept doing these like exit strategies to my own mission, speaking, coaching, healing, because I tried putting my offers out there and I assumed that I would have, these certificates that simply got people to like book appointments. But when I realized I actually had to get good at marketing and have a web presence and also learn sales, it was daunting. And I chose many different paths to going back to part-time entrepreneurship or part-time employment, full-time employment. I did Amazon delivery because I wanted a job where I could just listen to audiobooks all day and not be bothered, but I still needed to pay the bills. I actually, in the pandemic, faced eviction too with my daughter. And that was one of my worst moments as a parent. It was heartbreaking. It was heart shattering. And it made me feel like maybe I'm just not cut out for entrepreneurship. So I went to work for others, right? I went to go back to 9-to-5 employment. And I had some really good experiences working on different teams. Don't get me wrong. It's not about, hating the 9-to-5 on that. But what I realized was what I actually needed was an easy way to take the leap into full-time entrepreneurship, to take the leap into time freedom and getting paid the big bucks. By selling things in advance before selling or before overcomplicating and building out a huge website and all of these complicated things. So if you guys are interested, I'd love to take 5 minutes to share an invitation for you guys this weekend. This is a 6-week accelerator that has allowed me to pre-sell premium offers, to channel and get clarity on what offers I can offer according to my life's purpose that the world needs more of, that also gets me able to travel the world, right? Able to have time with my family, able to quit my job. And I also even had 4 months of salary cushion saved up using this very process. Through pre-selling the offers before building out to make sure that there was demand. So the Freedom Frequency is an accelerator for service providers, spiritual business owners, coaches, healers, practitioners who want to go from occasional, low ticket, inconsistent clients to fully booked out dream clients and consistent revenue. This is the fastest and easiest, most intuitive way to download your higher self's business plan, which aligns your life purpose, your highest potential, your ultimate fulfillment and destiny. And it also allows you to reverse engineer what clients or people on social media or in your circles need to hear in order for them to say, oh my God, that's who I want to work with. What we have inside the program is it's a 6-week group coaching program. So we first start with a whole subconscious and identity rewrite. This is the upgrade. This is the programming, right? We're optimizing your self-concept to inspire aligned action and for you to feel successful before you put yourself out there so that you can be most magnetic. We're also going to clear any outdated identity loops from I'm trying to get my business off the ground, right? To being chosen, highly sought after, high in demand, and optimized to be unstoppable so that we're no longer slowing ourselves down, creating distractions, or even burning ourselves out with all of these things that don't actually get us paid. We're going to have 6 weekly calls where we go through the signature method that gets you to download your first premium offer and to sell it before you make it, meaning you close deals before you make the website, meaning you pre-sell a course or a transformational program in 3 hours or less. 21-day micro mini money-making missions that are proven. And what's amazing about this is last round we did a beta to make sure this works. And several students actually sold their first premium package within 2 weeks of joining the program, meaning one, the entire program paid for itself as if by magic, #money magic, #manifestation. And two, they got to validate that their idea was actually something that people wanted before they spent hours and weeks and months building out a website or recording a course, only to realize that, oh, nobody actually wants this. You're going to channel your irresistible offer and combine this with your soul's purpose and your life purpose and your soul's records to know how to basically get paid for being you, meaning you get paid for your genius and your gifts. I've also included money-making prompts. I've had a lot of people say that, they're loving what I'm doing online and they know it's time for them to start putting themselves out there, but they don't know what to post. So they'll do like a tarot card of the day, right? Or they'll do a, I'm feeling inspired that it's solstice post. And those are great for sharing glimpses of your moment, but those are not the kinds of posts that actually get people to DM you or to comment on your stuff or to sign up for your programs. So these money-making social media prompts use principles like conversion messaging and magnetic marketing, things like Brandon Lucero, right, or James Wedmore, that actually get you to post using identity triggers, right, or relevancy triggers that get people to say, oh my God, that's freaking me, or oh my God, I didn't realize, like, they get it. We are also going to help you save time. A lot of the people that join this program, they're either in their spiritual business, right? They have a spiritual business, coaching practice, healing practice, and they want to go from, can I actually make a living from this into getting paid like full-time income to hit their retirement goals. Or there's the people that are still stuck in an unfulfilling 9-to-5 job that are like, Melissa, like, I'm so ready to leap, but I'm not willing to sacrifice my family, leave these people behind. So how do I do this when I'm working 40 hours a week and my boss wants me? Well, we're optimizing this to have inside this framework what I used to pre-sell and get 4 months of salary cushion so that I could quit my 9-to-5 job with savings, like an emergency fund, with all of these things, cash waiting on the side, so that when I made the leap, it wasn't scary and I wasn't even concerned about letting my family down or worried that I was going to be able to pay the rent because I knew I could make it fly. So we're going to include AI story GPT tools, which help you to download your signature message based on your birth chart, your human design, your astrology, and who you came here to be, everything that is your mission, and how to link that to what your ideal clients, your niche wants. And if you don't know what your niche is, we can also do that inside the program. So don't worry. We're going to help you to rewire your mindset around sales. So we're going to do a bunch of clearings around sales is bad, sales is boundaries, sales is pushy, sales is evil. And we're also going to do EFT tapping scripts. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I also have a sales call visualization tool in there that I've used to close. I've used this to close $17,000 in one Friday afternoon, literally by putting myself into my heart, being detached from the outcome. And I guess I'll drop that. I shouldn't drop this, but I will. But one of the secrets inside this sales call visualizations tool is to move and to embody the version of you on that sales call or on the clarity call, consultation call. We shouldn't call it sales call. That already has several hundreds of $1,000s in the bank. Because if you think about this, if I'm showing up on a call and I'm like, oh my God, I need this sale, I need this client, that's needy, right? That nobody likes that. If you were to show up and you already had $500,000 in the bank, how would you act on a sales call? You'd be warm, you'd be engaged, you'd be friendly, you'd be like, I'd love to help you, but it's not going to make or break me. I don't need you. And that detachment allows people to go deeper with you because you don't want anything from them. You're just here to help. You're here to add value. You're here to be an invitation and a bridge into their potential. But you're not here to take, right? So this will rewire, make clarity calls, discovery calls, sales, or even doing masterclasses like this fun, easy, because you're no longer triggered, you're no longer afraid, you're no longer awkward, and you're no longer shaking to name your price, which was me a couple months ago. Now, the number one thing that I've seen people go wrong in here is putting higher ticket offers off or going to make massive strides in increasing their income without doing the subconscious and the nervous system rewiring, because if you call in more money, you want a pay raise, you want more clients, you want more income, and you actually haven't cleared the unconscious poverty consciousness, the scarcity, the lack, the ancestral, the family blocks, or all of those old money stories around resentment, right, or penny pinching, then you're going to surpass what we call your financial thermostat. And even if you have a huge sales call, you have a win, you onboard your dream client for 10K, and you get that windfall, you're going to manifest expenses. You're going to find ways to bring it back down, or you're going to just throw it all away and blow it because you're not ready to hold it. So this is optimized to actually subconsciously heal, energetically heal you, your entire family lineage on all of those poverty blocks, all of those I can't afford it, and to make you an irresistible match for being in the flow with abundance and feeling safe, confident, worthy, and deserving of receiving in overflow consistently. And the best part about receiving an overflow consistently is that you get to be generous. You get to maybe hire a team. You get to treat your family to vacations. You get to tip the wait staff. And you have, thanks, Connie, for joining. So much love to you. I'll see you later. And you're going to have time to be able to circulate that and also do a lot of good with that. That's where that give back comes in too. Next, I've come up with a solution to help you prioritize what actually moves the needle in your business. And this was the number one thing that got me stuck when I went into full-time entrepreneurship. All of a sudden, I had all this time on my hands and I was doing all this busy work, but nothing was actually moving the needle or getting me the results I wanted. I was comparing myself to people who were several years ahead of me in business. I was comparing myself to people who had empires like Boss Babe, Manifestation Babe, which I so admire their work, but gosh, those people are 10 years in the game, and I thought I had to do everything like them rather than actually prioritize what would get me booked and paid, and so that I can invest that money and hire a team and help more people. And right now we're actually stepping into a new era where you being in community through offering circles, through showing up, and through having conversations with people is the best way to sell your programs, because you're not selling, you're showing up to solve problems, adding value. And then people as a byproduct or as a symptom will then ask you to work with you. The fastest way I've also gotten about 80% of my revenue, and we're at over $20,000 months right now, is through offering a signature talk. Now, you don't need to be a keynote speaker. You don't need to be, in that area, but a signature talk that allows you to show up on podcasts, Facebook Lives, even paid summits, right? Or to host retreats, facilitate retreats, and to give your signature transformational story that, one, you can charge money for, or two, you can do for free, and then invite people who resonated with your story to book a call to get a free resource to go deeper with you. This is all going to be included as an exceptional bonus. 2 last ones, and then we are ready for a special announcement on the marketing and web ecosystem that is only available for people inside my circle and some of my clients. The next thing is I'm going to be sharing the secret 177 words to solve a problem on Facebook and Instagram. We're not asking, we're not pitching, we're not doing. We're actually solving something that your ideal clients are struggling with in about 2 to 3 minutes, that actually ask them, well, can I work with you? Do you do this? And it allows them to actually ask them to book a call with you. The last page, or the last thing that we're including in, is the highest converting sales page template. So if you're going to launch a coaching program or an offer, and you're writing about all of these nice things, all of this sort of like fluffy stuff that doesn't sell, this is actually, according to consumer psychology and tons of marketing research, the highest converting 16 sections that every sales page needs to have in order to build trust, in order for people to see themselves in your offer, in order to bypass the resistance and the objections, and in order to convert and get people like selling this out. And the best part is every single section is given with a prompt, such as, okay, the pain point prompt. I'll give you one for free. So the pain point section is going to talk about what they're struggling with. Now, if I were to ask you that you were an undercover documentary crew and you were filming your ideal client a day in their life, what are they saying at themselves? For me, it's people stuck at a 9-to-5 or stuck at lower ticket coaching prices or a spiritual practice with not enough clients. They're probably beating themselves up because they want to help more people. And if only people could get, in front of them, then they could help more. This is people who are at a 9-to-5 and their boss is slamming more papers on their desk. And they're like, oh my God, I just promised myself I was going to spend my lunch hour working on my business. And now my boss wants more things from me. This is also video camera under crew, people in the unfulfilled 9-to-5. They're talking at the water cooler at the office. The water cooler chat. I always say this, like Kathy from accounting is like, yeah. And it feels like they're stuck in the matrix. They're stuck in like the simulation with people who don't want more out of life. They're very happy to be at this 9-to-5. All they talk about is office gossip. And you're just like, oh my gosh, how am I the only person who actually is seeing through this, that I'm not meant to be here? That would be a section. So these prompts allow you to do like a little Mad Libs thing to write it in a way that gets people selling out your offers super fast. No hiccups, no overthinking, no complicating, and also no dragging it out. Nobody wants to spend 30 days coming back to a sales page just to see if it's perfect. This is going to get it done so you can start just getting booked and paid and just actually be of service, be in community, and have people working with you instead of you trying to build the whole business for forever. All right. Does that sound good? Does anyone have any questions? All right. So all of these things do sell for $9,821. We've added it up. And I know from experience that you cannot create abundance. You cannot expand your income. You cannot expand your life when you're in survival. So I'm not going to charge you that. I don't want that much money from you. I want to see you succeed. And I also want to see you make the money fast. So after this beta round, 2 people have already sold out their premium offers within 2 weeks of joining, meaning this entire thing paid for itself. There's a founding member invitation for anyone that feels the nudge to start just making money and start getting booked and start getting in more sessions with people, to jump on this freedom frequency, this entire program, for $222 a week. There will be an option to upgrade to VIP, which also gets you one-on-one personalized clearing marketing support with me. But everything that we talked about inside this program is included for anyone that joins at this founder's price. Now, for today's live, because some of you guys are Facebook friends and some of you guys have even trained under, some of us, we've done energy, certifications together. I want to make sure that you guys have every single thing that I could possibly think of that you would need to not just be successful, but to really make it, to quantum leap into the highest sought out after person that helps the most people and that is so empowered and resourced on your mission because you're paid abundantly, You're working with your dream clients. People are flooding to you. Your offers are being sold out. So including 3 surprise bonuses on top of the bonuses, which is the secret guide that got me featured in Women's Insider magazine and CEOtimes.com. This is my hack, my secret strategy that gets you featured in the news, in media, and in magazines. Why? Because you want to have the as seen in, as featured in thing on your website, because it builds trust, because it shows that you're the real deal, and because who doesn't want more clients reading cosmopolitan.com, right? Or Forbes or whatever your niche is, saying, oh my God, that's amazing. I'd love to work with them. Now, I did this without a PR team. I did this without a PR agency. I wasn't planning on sharing it, but I actually want to give it because I want more people to get in front of those that matter. Now, I also want to make sure that you have time saved. You're not here to learn every single thing. And this took years and months of mastering and learning every marketing book and investing in all these programs. And I want to just distill it down so that you can get started, like before we go back to school. Like what would be possible before your kids go back to school, or we hit the fall months when your things are already jumping off, and by Christmas time, you're treating your entire family, extended family members to like the best freaking Christmas ever, because this was the year where things actually clicked for you. This is the year where you just made it. I made it. So I'm including an entire AI social media manager that helps you. It takes in everything about your skills, your niche, who you're here to serve, your ideal clients, your nightmare clients, so we can repel them, right? Everything about you and your business. And it is trained to be your social media manager assistant, meaning no more posting and getting crickets, no more posting and getting low engagement. This AI manager actually would save you the investment of paying somebody to be your social media manager, which is thousands of dollars. I used to be a social media manager, so I know what works. And I've also worked for 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs on their social media marketing to help them to sell launches that made over like $200,000 per intake on socials. This is a $197 value, but you're getting this included. And the last thing is about the conversion marketing messaging. So how do we get the prompts to understand what your clients would need to hear in order to actually see that their false beliefs and their limiting beliefs can be shattered with your unique solution as the thing that gets them so hooked and excited and chasing you down to run with them? Sound good? Any questions? I'm really excited to do this. It's going to be game changer. Beta was already a game changer, and now we're like revamping it because I feel resourced and supported, and I want you guys to as well. You get to a tipping point in your coaching practice when you start making a certain amount of money. I think for me, it was around 10K a month. Once I started making 10K a month, everything was okay. I was able to take risks. I knew my bills were paid. You know what I mean? Like, it's no longer like this push and pull and this, I finally have to break through. Once you reach a certain threshold, and everyone's going to have a unique number. It might be 5K for you, it might be 20K for you. But when you've made a certain monthly income, then you realize that from here it's up. It's just an upward spiral. Life gets really good. You get to like treat yourself to stuff. You get to treat your family members. You also get to invest in your business so that you don't have to do everything all at once. You can just be in your genius zone, delivering the way that you want to. And I want all of you guys to have that feeling. And I want you guys to have that feeling as fast as friggin' possible, because we're in this recession, this weird economy. Things are crumbling. You know, people are losing their jobs. And I have made a promise or contract with God that in this moment, here's where I'm going, like big goals, but I promise to bring everyone that wants to go and learn from me with me. I want everyone to succeed. I would love for you guys to outcreate me. I would love for you guys to exceed me. That would be so cool to see, because I know it works. So that's part of my secret contract, is making sure that everybody that I touch and everybody that I help is able to come with me for the journey. And I promise to, as a manifesting generator, somebody who likes to condense time and do things very fast, I promise to take everything that I've learned from all of these thought leaders, all of these conferences and investments, and distill it down in the most potent kryptonite, so you can just get the downloads, get the insights, and you don't have to learn from trial and error anymore. You can just shoot and rock it. So I've got more information for you. You can DM me Freedom to have a quick chat. Obviously, no obligations. You can also head to nirvana-collective.com/freedom to claim these bonuses. They're only available for those on this call. So have a peek and see if this would be life-changing for you. One of the things that I probably shouldn't be sharing, but I'm going to say one last thing before I end this call. And this is actually a teaser. So my boyfriend and I, we co-owned a digital marketing agency. And we had specialized in like SEO websites, email automations, everything to help people like get to quantum leap their income, to bring in more consistent clients and to get clients to keep coming back. And usually when we've made these like website ecosystems for coaches, these were like $10,000 plus solutions, right? To have the back end, the webs and the sales funnels that like have this natural customer journey that starts at a lower ticket offer. I'll give you an example of this. It starts as a lower ticket offer, free lead magnet or a low paying offer, goes into maybe a mid-tier entry level offer. And then for those who, you guys have done that, you've graduated and then you want more, right? You've advanced your skills and you want more. So you get invited to the advanced level, and then there's a VIP day, or maybe there's a mastermind, and you go up this sort of ascension model for people to dial it in, to invest at higher price points, and for them to get more advanced stuff the deeper they go with you, so that they keep coming back. And so that one client that comes in for a $20 masterclass ends up being a lifelong client that goes all the way to a $20,000 program with you. Because the easiest way to sell and the easiest way to create more revenue is not through constantly trying to bring in new clients and start from scratch. It's actually to harness the clients that are already in there. And whether you've had like a one-off Reiki healing session with a client 6 years ago, to use people who have already had a taste of you, and to start thinking about, okay, well, what would they need at their next level? What would they need at their next level? What potential obstacles would they face when they're at this level? And to keep bringing them back, because they're already sold on working with you. They've already worked with you. They've experienced your magic. So it's 10 times easier to resell and upsell existing customers instead of start from scratch and bring in strangers that need to be warmed up. All right. Almost 80% of your sales is going to come through finding clever ways to take people further and anticipate their needs. Meaning, after this offer, then once you've come through and you're getting 5 to 10K clients and you're having this consistent income, now my next level offer might be, okay, well, now they've done that, but how do they know how to create a freedom-based business so that they're not working? How do they, what are the next steps for you? And this is what I'm going to teach. So, quick teaser. Yannick is at the gym right now, so he's not going to know that I'm revealing this, but we have decided to create for people inside my circle an entire zero headache, zero tech complication marketing website business ecosystem. Meaning, what if you could, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks or less, have your entire platform, your business presence, website, funnels, sales pages, email nurtures, email stack, meaning you don't have to invest in MailChimp, meaning you don't have to buy, okay, I've got my Kajabi and then I've got MailChimp and that's $20 a month and that's 30, but they don't go together. What if your CRM and your booking calendar and your email like marketing system so that you could send newsletters out, right? And your website and your lead magnets was all in one central platform. Not only that, what if it was actually done for you? Meaning we've got like a huge template for people inside my circle that we're doing is like a give back, because this is the number one thing that people get stuck up on. They spend weeks trying to build a website. They spend weeks overcomplicating it and being on support with IT. And I hate that. I just want you guys to start getting booked and served. So what we've done is we've actually created a solution with the highest converting, according to consumer psychology, fill in the blank templates that knows exactly what to write in each section, that delivers you the entire marketing, website, sales funnel, everything template delivered. All you got to do is change the colors. All you got to do is change the fill in the blanks and swap in your pictures. That's it. Done. Your entire website's online. Your business is in a box, it's running. And most of all, there's no tech or headache or figuring it out, reading the tutorials, being stuck with customer support. It's done. So that's the announcement. And that's also going to be something that's available only for people that are working with me or people that are part of the Freedom Frequency. So if you're getting the nudge that now is the time to leap, give me a shout, give me a call, because I know that this is going to change the game, because we're no longer going to be stuck in trying, doing, overcomplicating. We're going to be ready to start serving, start receiving, and start having people saying yes to our offers without fail. It's inevitable. This allows you to become inevitable. So thank you guys. I'm really excited to jump on this. Let me know if this is helpful for you. If any of you guys want that free resource I mentioned on the energetic yes method, that script, or like the cheat sheet to have while you're doing your clarity calls and your discovery calls, you can comment the word sales alchemy or message me. And if anyone wants more info on freedom frequency, I'll drop that in the comments so that you can have first dibs at this round's intake and get all those amazing juicy bonuses to make your success not only inevitable, but freaking easy. Let's go. Have a great weekend ahead, guys. Love you. Bye.